Welcome to the Guberman Appleby Immigration Lawyer YouTube channel. I'm Lainey Appleby. This is Joel Guberman. Today we're going to be discussing the most recent Canadian immigration update, wherein IRCC announced that they would be eliminating points for job offers in the Express Entry program. They gave a heads up about this in December, I think December 23rd, 2024. Yesterday, which was March 25th, they advised that this change was going into effect immediately. We had known that it was to come in sometime in the spring. Yesterday, they just nailed everyone with this change out of the blue. Do you want to give a little summary of the change?
Yeah, as I understand it, they are dropping the 50 points for a job offer and the 200 points for a job offer at the higher levels. Curious change, even though we had some warning about it.
I mean, it is typical. The changes come quickly, but for it to go into effect immediately is pretty interesting. The Ministerial Instructions that eliminated the change was published on March 11th.
The ostensible purpose, as stated by the ministry, as stated by the government, is that there was a great degree of fraud in these job offerings, therefore skewing the points by 50 or 200 points for jobs that were either non-existent, bogus, not really what they were supposed to be. That's the reason behind the elimination of the points, but what are the consequences? The unintended consequences as far as we're concerned.
I think I should just clarify, removing the 200 or 50 points for the purposes of the comprehensive ranking score, which is those express entry points that everyone talks about, is different than points that you can get for a qualifying offer of arranged employment. Basically, this impacts people who are eligible under the Federal Canada Experience class stream, people who are applying as a federal skilled worker, federal trade worker, people who are potential provincial nominees. They will still get points for arranged employment, but that's different than points for a job offer under express entry. But as far as the consequences of this, it's sort of a very strange strategy. One of the primary tenets of the federal immigration program is that applicants are able to successfully economically establish in Canada. I'm not really sure how taking away points for job offers, which kind of encourage people to have a job lined up, helps people become economically established in Canada.
To some extent, what we're doing is it's a throwback to 20 years ago. It had nothing to do with the job offer, but simply qualifications, and we ended up with a situation of PhDs coming into Canada and ending up being taxi drivers.
I think that over the past few years, when the job offer became a more important part of a successful application, you were seeing more people succeed economically right when they got here. And I mean, I guess it's a bit different because now the government is focusing on people who already have Canadian work experience. Most of the draws are under the Canada Experience class. I actually quickly looked up. In the past year, so March 24 to March 2025, there were 50 draws. Of those 50 draws, more than half were either in the Canada Experience class or in the targeted draws. So the targeted draws are people who speak French, trade roles, and things like that. That's been updated recently. The bottom line is so many of the draws are in the Canada Experience class. And there's been a real emphasis in all of the announcements from at least Minister Miller. For people in the Canada Experience class, I really don't understand how this is going to be helpful to their future in Canada.
First of all, the government pointedly doesn't say anything about the incidence of fraud, which they're trying to protect. Is it 10% of applications are fraudulent or 50% of applications are fraudulent? They have no statistics. They don't release anything. So one wonders if this is a real thing to begin with at all. The second thing is you would have thought that if they're removing 50 and 200 points for job offers because they were fraudulent, they might have replaced those points back into the Canada Experience, Canada Jobs situation. So if you actually had Canada Experience, you got more points for actually working in Canada previously. Very difficult to make that a fraud. T4 slips, you have all sorts of government documentation to support if you were actually working in Canada.
The other thing on that point, this kind of seems like a sort of chopping off a head solution to something that might be about like just chopping off a baby finger. I'm just speculating here, this is my opinion, but I would think that the incidents of fraud with these job offers are more in the tier 4, tier 5, where there's employers doing like bulk requests for LMIA for the lower level jobs. You have to be tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 to qualify under express entry in any event. But I think that one of the real problems with this is that the 200-point job offer, that was mostly of great significance to people who were over 45, because you get 0 for age when you're over 45. This is basically taking out the ability of any senior executive C-suite person to qualify for permanent residence.
We also know one of the other consequences is this is probably going to dumb down the pool. Once you eliminate 50 points and 200 points, let's just keep it at 50. By definition, is going to drop the draw numbers down, which means that we're getting not necessarily less qualified people, although potentially, but we're going to have people, as you said at the outset, don't necessarily have jobs to go to.
I think across the board, points for draws are going to come down, unless there's going to be an exclusive focus on P&P, because you get 600 points for having a provincial nomination certificate. For just sort of those mid-level draws, the points have to drop. So you're sort of just creating the same playing field in this way, again, that I don't really understand how, if the goal is economic establishment and helping the economy overall. Levels plan wants to drop the number of permanent residents. Okay, like, fair enough, that's fine. Will this help with that? I guess.
It shouldn't help with that. It should increase the number of applicants and the number of qualified people. I always analogize the express entry point system to a top-end university where they get tens of thousands of applications and they only accept 2,000 people. The better the pool, the more qualified the individuals, the better class, if you want to call it that. By eliminating this number of points, you by necessity lower the class.
This is going to be very interesting for all the statisticians and number crunchers that certainly aren't me. The main message here, I suppose, is just keep in mind, no more points for 200, no more points for 50 for your job offer. It remains to be seen whether people who are planning on putting themselves in the express entry pool are going to need to do other things to be competitive. Is this a huge win for the French language schools? I don't know. Is this a huge win for people who want to suddenly go do their master's programs? Well, good luck to them because of all the changes to the study permit rules.
It's a big loss for major corporations that want to bring in international CEOs and C-suite individuals who are now never going to qualify.
That's right. It's a real detriment, I think, to people who want to come to Canada in leadership positions. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have further discussions on this point. If you'd like to talk to us about this particular issue or any other Canadian or U.S. immigration issues, feel free to DM us. You can email us at info@gaimmlaw.com, or you're always welcome to give us a call, 416-548-7100, and we look forward to you tuning in next time.